All right, everybody. So, Black Panther 2 came out. It was a cool warrior, black African film. But you know what else was a cool warrior, black African American film? Woman King. And as much as Black Panther is cute, it just wasn't on the level of Woman King. So, we're going to talk about why we think Woman King's a better film, as well as, what similarity aspects both films have. Because even though Woman King is a better film, objectively speaking, this doesn't change the fact that they both have some cool aspects towards African warrior stuff that we at Magic Blue love the most.
Yeah.
So here, it's me, Chuku. Next, I have
OC.
Scott. So out of curiosity though, you agree that Woman King is better than...
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
We just watched we're filming this during the opening weekend of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And yeah, we saw Woman King. It's been a few months now.
Yeah, it was like
Woman
September.
Yeah. The Woman King came out. I've seen it twice in theaters.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And then we just watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But yeah, I definitely agree that I think Woman King is better as a film overall.
Yeah, I guess we can start off with direction. Because to be fair, Black Panther 2 did have to start itself in a different position where, they wanted to give Chadwick Boseman sort of his, respect. And they wanted to play off that aspect to the story. However, I think what makes Woman King already, on a higher level is that with story-wise, it really goes deeper into the warrior aspects, right? We really get to see like how these tribes work, how they function, what the problems and whatnot. And Black Panther, for the most part, although we do get to experience these things even in the first one, we don't really get to see more depth about how like the warrior system, how it affects the kingdoms, all that stuff. It feels like those politics are kind of undermined. And granted, it is a superhero film, it's a Marvel film, so they do want to make it fun. They don't want to get too deep with it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it just, as a narrative speaking, you don't really get, it's almost like, okay, this is Wakanda. Wakanda is just some cool, flashy, it's this cool, flashy warrior high-tech thing. We don't get the nuances.
Yeah,
and all that.
it's like the Woman King is more grounded. We get to see everybody at the ground level. Like it feels like nobody is like, for Black Panther I feel like we're just seeing the royalty, we're just seeing the higher class versus, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's like living decently, but like we don't see the nitty gritty,
Yeah, the everyday. Even when Okoye got banished or got taken away from the guard, we kind of like didn't see her again until everyone was attacked. So
yeah,
that's an interesting point. I think one of my criticisms for Wakanda Forever was that it was a little bit too much in that muddied the story, like they were trying to do too much. But one of the positives with Woman King is that it was very much a linear story that just from beginning to end it drove, and it had like twists and turns within the narrative of the film. What's the girl's name? I'm forgetting. The main girl from Woman King, the little girl.
But she's the main.
I'm forgetting her name, but her and Viola Davis's character, the connection that they have in the film that's revealed, and the twist in that, and that film, I think that they did a very good job in the storytelling of that movie.
But what's even interesting, because you brought up the whole idea that Black Panther 2 has a lot of, different subplot lines going on. Woman King also has a bunch of like you have the subplot line with these other female warriors, right? Like like you have what I call the veteran warriors, right?
Yeah,
then you have the ones who are being new. Then you have this girl who's supposed to be a princess or whatever, but she's like, no, and that's the main girl we're following. We're seeing that side. We're seeing Viola Davis' side. We're seeing the King side. We're seeing the side with the other tribes. So it's like,
I think it was more connected though.
Yeah,
it felt more connected.
Yeah,
with Woman King. But yeah, you're right. They still had a complex story that they were telling, and I felt like it melded together much better. But yeah, I think one of the unfortunate things with Woman King that happened was it kind of got bogged down with some controversy around the historical accuracy of it, which is unfortunate to me in my opinion. I think that they I don't know. I feel like sometimes fandoms can get in their own way of enjoying a movie potentially, and I think that the news about the controversy kind of probably turned some people off.
I think that could be it. I guess there was rumors about people that, like Viola. I mean, they're probably straw man arguing her, but they're probably the news of Viola Davis saying something like, "If you didn't watch this movie, it could be your racist," kind of a thing.
Oh, did she say that?
There. I don't think she literally said that, but there was. It sounded like there was an implication of saying like people who wouldn't be into this movie, it's because of some racial biases they may have or something like that. So I think that kind of triggered certain groups of people to look at the film and then be like, well, it's not even historically accurate and blah 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 kind of a thing.
I don't know. I think actors and filmmakers need to stop talking like that because even with the movie Bros, Billy Eichner, that was like the LGBT love story. He said apparently the same kind of similar thing. It's like, straight people didn't want to come out and watch the movie because they're straight, and so like maybe just like actors and filmmakers need to stop talking.
But as far as the addressing that whole like, oh, it's not historically accurate kind of thing, I think we mentioned this before, but just to re-preface this since this is part of the video, at the end of the day, like, movies are always based off the winners. You know, it's always good stories like how historically accurate is going on with like when Abraham Lincoln was president, right? Like there's always going to be certain biases and
right, because even with like you look at something like the Braveheart, which is a movie that people love, but from what I understand, it's not very historically accurate. There's a lot of most of the movies that are considered like based on real events or based on historical events, you go in with the assumption that, hey, we're not going into this to learn about history. It's not a documentary.
Maybe because it's like about slavery that it's more sensitive. I suppose.
I think that makes sense that there's a little bit more sensitivity around it. But I think I have critiques about there's a notion of historical accuracy that is accepted without question, and I'm unsure why there seems to be no critique about how, like, what is this, where is this history recorded, like who's recording this history that you're trying to base this movie off of, like whose narrative basically are we going to as the authority on what actually happened in this period of time.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't like that big of a deal. Like the message at the end, or at least like one of the themes they play off of, is like slavery is bad, and like I'm pretty sure all of us can agree on that.
Exactly.
So like what's the big deal, honestly?
It seemed some of the critiques were kind of like making it seem like the movie was supporting slavery. Like that's how they kind of were trying to like twist it. And it seemed clear from some of the critiques that I heard that these people haven't seen the movie. It's like, oh, did you know that these people were historically involved in the slave trade? It's like, yeah, that's in the movie.
Exactly. They mentioned it.
They mentioned it. That's a big part of the movie. Like they were critiquing it as if they clearly hadn't seen the movie.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, oh, these guys they're trying to like they're trying to make these, or they're trying to sanitize these people who were involved in the slave trade, and make them look like heroes without addressing the facts that they were involved in this aspect of history. It's like, did you see the movie? I don't think you saw
because
the movie.
Again, the movie, and that goes back to the movie, because the whole point of this movie is not about them trying to save slaves. That wasn't the purpose of the movie. The movie literally is just about how these warriors go about their lives. That's what it was. It was just about, we saw a bunch of warriors. What is it like their tribe? What conflicts they had to deal with, and how they go about it. And of course, there's You know, there's some like even the tribes themselves was like, oh, this person was a slave in our tribe, and some people are like, man, they're a teammate. That's just how it is, you know, things like that. That was what the movie was about. And yeah, when you hear criticisms like that, it's just, again, you know, people have their straw man arguments. They look at something, they make an assumption. Oh, you know, warriors here, white people there. It's a movie about these warriors trying to save white people. All this shit.
We've moved quite deep into the forest. We've wandered quite deep into the forest. Let's get back into the comparison.
But yeah, back to more about Wakanda. Another aspect I think this movie really what's it called? Woman King does better is the fighting. Even though I did praise Wakanda Forever having a little bit, in my eyes, much of a better fight scene than Black Panther, I feel like the way the fighting is done in Woman King is just, it's like, I've said, it's a perfect balance of realism, but there is a little bit of like, I guess you can say fancy, acrobatic to it. So it's not too like boring and dull, but at the same time, it's not too flashy where it's like this over, like they're doing triple backflips and all this kind of stuff just to be like, oh, we're women warriors. And it looks well done. The camera angles you can see it. There's nothing trying to hide or anything.
Fight choreography is one of the huge highlights of Woman King, and it looked practical, like you were saying. It looked practical, but it still looked flashy enough for the camera to make it look cool for the audience. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. I think you're right, and it was better than Black Panther Forever.
Yeah. And then I guess performances as well. Even though you did mention the mom in Black Panther 2, I did thought she had
Angela Bassett
had amazing performance. But I think Woman King in general, a lot of the actors overall were pretty strong. You know, pretty strong. Pretty. You really felt their pain. You understand what they're going through. I don't know what to say more about the performances of Woman King.
Yeah, the Viola Davis, of course, was fantastic, and the actress who played Izogi, Lashana Lynch, I think she was in James Bond.
Okay.
She was in the last James Bond movie. She did a fantastic job as well. I think she was probably my favorite character in that movie. She was the most enjoyable to watch whenever she was on screen. And then I don't know the actress who plays Naui, the girl, but yeah, they all did a great job.
Let's not forget John Boyega.
And John Boyega,
yeah, his performance was the best, man.
Yeah, he was great. He was fun to watch. He seemed like he was just having a lot of fun in that movie.
Isn't John Boyega Nigerian?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It makes sense. It felt very like that's African culture right there. Like that's literally Nigerian being like, are you done now? You know, that's right.
He reminded me of, so the character that I think I love the most in the Black Panther movies is M'Baku.
Yeah.
And I think that M'Baku's character of just like, he feels like he's having a ton of fun. Yeah. Just like doing his hyper like African accent. Like they call him Kukulka. that whole it just feels like they're having fun playing these characters, and I love watching them. And I know that the guy who plays M'Baku, Winston Duke, I think he's like Jamaican or Caribbean or something.
Really?
Yeah, he's not like directly from West Africa, but still, just like him, I love watching Winston Duke in that role, and then John Boyega as the king in Woman King was great too.
Yeah.
So,
but I just, again, maybe it's the way the story's written, but I felt like John Boyega's African thing felt more natural and like more organic than oh my god,
than M'Baku.
M'Baku, like M'Baku was there, like you can tell it's an African thing, but it's like, you know, it goes back to the aspect where they don't really go deeper within the tribes, because even their antagonists is, you know, they have it like the way those Africans people talk inside Woman King, they're a different way of going about it and everything. And one thing I liked in Woman King that they had with the antagonists is how they were working with like the Spanish people, the white people, right?
Yeah, Portuguese,
yeah. Right? So that's another aspect that, again, it's realistic, because that's what happened. Not all Africans did use other Africans to switch with other Africans. That's just how it was back in the day. So that is definitely an aspect to the series. But I mean, I don't know. What about you, Scott? Any big difference you've noticed between Woman King and?
I think one of the bigger differences was the relationship between the mother and daughter. Like, I feel like the story behind that was really well done for Woman King, and there was like definitely that connection I felt between them. But for this one, I feel like the Queen and Shuri, like, we didn't really get much of that in the first movie.
That is so true.
And then in the second movie, we have to. I mean, obviously it's a mother-daughter relationship and everything, but like, there's just so many assumptions we have to make about the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
And not every mother-daughter relationship is like wonderful and great and well connected.
Yeah.
So we just had to like go off of that.
Yeah.
That it was, and it felt like when they were like talking about T'Challa and stuff together, it felt like I didn't feel too much of it, just because I don't have this established relationship with them, or like I don't feel connected to them because I've never really seen it before, that moment. So I feel like they could have done better. And also when the Queen died, and she was like super sad about it, I didn't feel too much of that either. So I think that was a big weakness in Black Panther 2 for me, that I think Woman King, like, just that, I know it's kind of like a superficial comparison because the story is based around the Woman King and her daughter. So yeah.
But even hypothetically speaking, let's just say that mother and daughter thing was not even like real. You know, let's just say it was just they were just two soldiers, right? Same time, you still feel like, you know, you have this higher ranking soldier being like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. And then, you know, you get why her background's coming from, because she made a mistake and she doesn't want the same mistake. Meanwhile, you have this other girl who's like, I grew up being a princess all my life. I don't want to do that life anymore. I want to do this thing. So even if it was just a soldier to soldier kind of thing, it still is a more stronger.
Okay, she hold on. She did not grow up being a princess. She was like, you're talking about Noe, right?
Yeah.
From Woman King.
King.
I mean, yeah, she just grew up in like
she kept saying that she had a tough life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she was adopted. So
she was adopted.
Yeah,
it's because of course
she's
the whole
she's
story.
trying to be
that's fair.
she's trying to be sold off by her dad, or her dad was trying to sell her off to a rich person.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think they themselves are rich at all.
Yeah, you're right. Fair point.
Yeah,
Thanks for addressing that. Correcting me on that. But my point is, even then, it's like you still. The point is
that still like a mother-daughter.
There's still a mother-daughter relationship,
even without the direct mother-daughter connection.
Yeah. But it's the fact that they were, though, that was the big surprise, right?
Yeah.
That made it even more effective, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
I mean,
it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a couple weeks. That's fine. But that's definitely a big, strong aspect of the film. I guess if the only one weak thing I would say about Woman King was the relationship with her and the other dude.
Oh yeah.
But it was just done very subtly that it's forgivable because it's not such a big thing. It's just kind of
it was different enough. So it was basically like your typical Pocahontas John Smith kind of relationship dynamic, but it was done in a slightly different way where John Smith has a connection to Pocahontas's people. So it's like it wasn't the direct thing. They switched it up a little bit, but even still, I wish they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So that's a fair critique in my opinion.
Yeah.
Definitely let us know if you've seen both Woman King and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, if you have any opinions on which one you think was better, which one you had more fun watching, which one you thought was, you're gonna more likely watch again. I feel like, being in the MCU, Black Panther Wakanda Forever has
a big advantage,
a leg up on that one. But hey, definitely let us know in the comments down below, and we will catch you later.
Peace.